Houston. Major cloud coverage, but that means the roof at Minute Maid Park is closed. We have reached the final week of the 2021 regular. I'm Rich Hollenberg. New backdrop.
Yes.
Who dis? The 2021 American League East champions. That looks pretty darn good here in the Bally Sports studio. So now that there is still 2 series remaining and they've already locked up this AL East title, take me inside the clubhouse. What's the mentality for this last week?
Well, look, these guys are still competitors, so they're going out there. They want to finish up the season strong. And there's still one more box to check off. Rich, you were talking about going out there and getting that AL one more victory so you have home field advantage all the way throughout the playoffs. That's going to be huge for the Rays. But you also set little goals. After you reach all your main goals, you want to continue to strive for multiple things. And to have that 100 win total out there, just in reaching distance, all you got to do is win 3 more games out of the next 6. I see them going after that as well. So it still is going to be a lot of fun to watch these next 6 games.
Well, our leadoff topic is surrounding that topic indeed, because the Rays, after they clinched against Toronto, said they still have bigger things in mind, and they played like that against the Marlins.
Well, they did, and it came with a 14th sweep of the season, going up against the Marlins and taking all 3 games. We go back to the first game, Ryan Yarbrough pitched extremely well, went 6 innings of shutout baseball. Rays won 8-0. Then you go to the second game. This is the game they actually clinched in, Richie. So much fun to watch. You see the celebration, you see the ceremony, all the families really going out there celebrating what has been going on all season long. And then the series sweep on Sunday, going out there. Shane McClanahan actually picked up his 10th win of the season on Saturday, and then Shane Baz picked up his 2nd win on the season on Sunday behind a really nice pitching performance for him. 5 2/3, 9 punch-outs, and the Rays are looking really, really good going into this series against Houston.
Our Toyota Inside Look, the Rays are now shoulder to shoulder with the 2008 team for best record in team history. And Doug, as you touched on, all they have to do is go 3-3, 500 baseball in the last 6 to reach that magical 100 mark.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a magical mark, but look, they're going up against a couple of tough teams. I mean, Houston, they are obviously about to clinch their division title here shortly. Yeah, I think they're 2 games away from that. And then you got the Yankees behind that. So, yes, it is only 3 games away, but you got a couple tough teams to get them against.
Even though they still are at 96 and the 2008 team won 97, not even the 2008 team could boast the claim that the Rays are going for now. Their magic number is 1 to have the best record in the American League, and that would be the first time in Rays franchise history that a team could claim that if the Major League playoffs started right now. This is what it looks like. What jumps out at you, Weck?
Well, look, obviously the wild card race in the AL is something we've all been watching very closely. You got Boston and New York. That would be an epic 1-game playoff right there. But then shift your eyes over to the NL. We don't cover them that often. There's a couple surprises over there. St. Louis has won 16 games in a row, so watch out for them. They're a hot team right now. And Milwaukee Brewers. Nobody's talking about the Milwaukee Brewers. They're my sleeper pick in the NL. They can pitch, they can hit, they can do pretty much everything, so watch out for them.
A lot of Rays connections.
A lot of Rays connections.
National League side of things as well.
Real juicy.
That's a story for another time. Here's Kevin Cash giving us a look at the week ahead for Tampa Bay.
I don't see too much changing from the position player workload. We're so versatile with matchups and stuff. We're going to be able to get guys off their feet. It's going to probably prioritize the pitching and making sure that we've got the right workloads that we would like from our starters, from our relievers. Certainly don't want to overwork anybody, but we also have 6 games and starting tonight against 6 very good offenses.
So a lot of mixing and matching, but that's what the Rays have done all season long with their pitching. So hopefully that pays benefits this time of year. And as usual, this time of year, it's a call to arms. And the biggest headline from this graphic we're about to show you, Andrew Kittredge is back with the team after a stint on the IL.
Well, no doubt. Look, he is one of the best arms, if not the best arm in that bullpen. 9-3 on the year with a 1.55 ERA. They have missed him. But if you look at the bright side of things, it was a good time to get him off his feet. You know, he does have a little bit of a rest now. He had a 3.5 ERA in the month of September. That's the highest of the year. So it's nice to get him out of the bullpen, get him a little rest, and now get him back fully healthy to help out that bullpen really push toward October.
And now Lewis Head is back with the big club for the 763rd time this season.
764.
It's now 764. I knew I was off by 1.
I always
Good to have
check the
Lewis
math.
Head back on the pregame show. Presented by your local Honda dealer, Houston Astros. Rich and Doug back inside Bally Sports Studio. Now we're going to take a look at the wild card race. The Rays don't have to worry about that. They're American League East champs. But New York, Boston, and Toronto, the top three teams right now, they're all within 2 games of each other. But don't sleep on the Mariners, who are just a half game behind the Jays.
My goodness, how about this beatdown in Seattle yesterday? Oakland versus Seattle. Seattle was able to take it 13-4 off of Mitch Haniger in his strong outing offensively. 2 home runs, accounting for 6 RBIs. Each home run had 3 RBIs attached. And Mitch Haniger, have yourself a day. Seattle's 8-2 over their last 10. They're streaking red hot right now, Richie.
Seattle has the longest active playoff drought, 20 years, but they are knocking on the door. Right now, the Yankees are in the driver's seat, a game up for that first wild card spot after sweeping Red Sox in Boston. But Boston has, on paper at least, Doug, the easiest schedule.
Yes, if you're looking at competition, Boston should be able to take it. 3 against Baltimore, 3 against Washington. Both teams under 500. Then you go to the Blue Jays. They have the second easiest schedule. They do have 3 against the Yankees. That's the series they're at right now. But then 3 finishing up in Baltimore. So they do have the easier schedule if you're looking at them and New York. But then you shift over to the Mariners and the A's. It'll be interesting to see how they play out. If anybody has a chance to sneak in there, it would be Seattle because, boy, like I said, 8-2 over their last 10, and they're playing Oakland and Anaheim next, and they have handled them all season long.
You know what? It begs the question, could we possibly have a reprise of what took place 10 years ago tonight, game 162, what most baseball people think was the most exciting night in all of baseball, and the Rays were right in the middle of it, authoring a comeback for the ages.
Well, if you believe in destiny, this is the game that probably made you do that, because when you go back and look at it, it was the most exciting baseball game that I have ever witnessed. I was in the stands. We were down by 7 runs. I turned to my family. I told them we had no chance. And then you see what happened here. Longoria hits the 3-run blast. You fast forward, and it's the 9th inning. Dan Johnson ties the game at 7. And you're thinking, my goodness, the Rays could actually pull this off. Richie, the 12th inning. Evan Longoria hits one of the more memorable home runs of his career, if not the most memorable home run of his career. Rounds the bases, gets the Rays into the playoffs. Flat out unbelievable.
And with the Red Sox losing in Baltimore to the Orioles, it put the Rays in the playoffs back then in 2011. Evan Longoria, obviously an integral part of that 2008 team as a rookie. He reminisced, went down memory lane with our Tricia Whitaker.
Amazing moment. Obviously, one of the most special moments that I've had, on a baseball field with, with my teammates. And I think, if you watch kind of the 15, 20 seconds after I touch home plate and the kind of the celebration that ensues, there's a moment in there where you can see my face and how mentally and emotionally drained I am, just from obviously playing a 5-hour game that was the most important game that we had played all year, no doubt. And, just the grind of the month, we were grinding for 25 straight days to get back to where we were. And so there's a lot of relief in my face, and there's a lot of joy. And it's just, it's a great, a great comeback story.
I could say as a fan myself, I'm allowed to look ahead, right? Nobody on the team is looking ahead now, but could you imagine possibly a Giants-Rays World Series, Evan Longoria returning back to Tropicana Field? That's just one of the potential storylines of this 2021 playoffs. We'll take another break here. Presented by your local Honda dealer on Rays Live, the pregame. And it was really a great moment when the Rays were celebrating that AL East title in their home clubhouse at Tropicana Field, and one of the first things they did was get on a Zoom call with AAA Durham, because they knew there were so many people shuttling back and forth who had a huge part in that AL East title. The minor leagues handing out their awards recently, and a couple of familiar faces taking home some hardware. We start with Shane Baz.
Yeah, well-deserved with Shane Baz. My goodness, I'll just tell you the stats. 2.06 ERA, 113 strikeouts. That's 113 strikeouts to only 13 walks. That is real numbers right there, folks. The bottom line, I mean, the strikeout to walk ratio is just insane. But what I love about, well, there's a lot I love about this kid. One thing I love about this kid, he did it through 3 different levels. He went from AA, AAA, and is now in the big leagues. And then you can count the Olympics. Also went and pitched for the Olympics. There's so many different things that you can take out of that, but you know, mentally, he is very strong and able to handle business. Then you fast forward and flash over to your Offensive Player of the Year, Josh Lowe. This is a guy who goes out there and he flashes a rare combination, and Kevin Cash even talks about this plenty. He talks about the rare combination of power and speed. He's a 20-20 guy in Durham, which means he had over 20 home runs, over 20 steals, 21 jacks, 26 bags. And then you look at his runs driven in, 75 RBIs in 107 games. So you remember, this is a shorter season than the major leagues have. He only had 107 games. Still able to put up those kind of numbers, so impressive.
And a couple of names you might not be too familiar with, but the man in the middle we know all too well. Yeah. Taylor Walls remains to be seen if he's going to be on any postseason roster, but he was easily the Defensive Player of the Year in the Rays farm system.
Right, stacked up right here. Look at these guys. Look at the numbers on Colby White. 99 punch-outs in 59 innings, and then you look over to Greg Jones, 34 bases stolen. I mean, look, guys don't get that number anymore. That's really tough to do. And remember, like I just said, this isn't a full major league season. This isn't 162 games. This is roughly closer to 120 games. So these numbers these guys are throwing up, it's pretty impressive.
And by the way, despite Wander Franco being called up and all these rookies with the Rays, still dominating on the minor league level are the Tampa Bay Rays affiliates. Let's take your first look at lineups for the Rays and the Astros tonight from Houston. Remember, this is a Rays team that has scored 7 or more runs, a major league best 60 times. Yandy Diaz in the 2-hole, 17 RBIs his last 19. Rosarena, remember, went 321 with 4 dingers in the ALDS last year against Houston. Mike Zunino, a home run to hit ratio that's second only to Barry Bonds all time. And then Kevin Kiermaier in the 9th spot hitting 327 in September. But the table setter, one of the best in the leadoff spot, Brandon Lau.
Well, you're talking about Mike Zunino and his power. Let's talk a little bit about the second baseman, Brandon Lau, and what he's been doing just recently. He couldn't cover his last 17 games. 909 OPS. He's got 10 RBIs, 20 hits. But the power numbers have really been there, Richie, all season long. He's now up to 34 home runs total. And I love the way he's doing it. He's getting back to his basics. You know, he's been so good hitting the fastball, right? Over his career, he crushes the fastball. And that's exactly what we're seeing him do this year. Out of his 34 home runs, 23 of them have come off the fastball. So he timed up on that pitch fairly well. And, you know, that's what they're looking for him to do throughout the rest of the regular season and specifically in the postseason.
And this is a series that we're going to see 2 of the best power-hitting second basemen in all of baseball. Brandon Lau behind only Marcus Semien, but a couple of home runs behind him is Jose Altuve. We're going to take a look now at the Houston Astros lineup, who, by the way, come in on a little bit of a roadblock. They've lost 4 straight games. They're only hitting a $160 during those 4 games. We'll get to Altuve in a second. Alex Bregman hitting over 300 since he came off the IL. Yuli Gurriel is leading the American League in hitting behind him. You have Kyle Tucker, plant high product from Tampa, hitting 337 in September. But Altuve is back to being the Jose Altuve we've seen the last number of years.
He is. Look, 5-time Silver Slugger, 7-time All-Star. He's still in the 30 home run club. This guy has over 30 home runs on the year, or actually has 30 home runs on the year. You see what he's done over the last 20. Hitting that 313 clip, 602 slugging percentage. The 9 doubles will really help that number out. But my goodness, the on-base percentage. He has just been finding ways to get on base, and he's been a terror at the plate. Smaller strike zone, obviously a smaller guy in stature, but he has a great strike zone awareness, which makes it so hard as a pitcher. You can't expand the way that you typically can on some of these power hitters. You really have to look for him to get weak contact, and it's really tough because he just knows how to put the barrel on the ball.
Yeah, and Rays fans unfortunately remember how
love that guy. I mean, everybody loves this guy. It's hard to not like him.
Yeah, and a quick happy baseball birthday to his outfield teammate, Manny Margot, turns 27 today. He is on the bench, coming off the bench possibly if needed against the Astros. Rich and Doug wrapping things up on Rays Live, the pregame. Let's talk a little bit about the 20-year-old Wander Franco, as if we haven't talked about him for virtually every pregame show that he's been up with the big leagues, because that on-base streak continues.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, he gives us good reason to talk about him every single game. And we should be, because, look, this guy means so much to the team. And when he was injured, you're just hoping as a Rays fan that he's able to come back in time to get his timing back at the plate. Well, he obviously proved that he could do that. 2 games back, he's got 3 hits already, and he's extended that streak. And this kid, from what he's flashed really over the course of this season, you look at the 50 games, he only played 64. Over the 50 games, last 50 games, look at those numbers, Richie. 25 extra base hits, 43 runs accounted for. This guy is so good at putting the ball in play and making solid contact. He's just on another level from anybody else I've really seen.
And listen, he has some of the best plate discipline of anybody, no matter what his age is. But the fact is, Doug, he has hits in 33 of those 41 games that he's been on base.
Well, look at the body of work. In his last 214 plate appearances, he has 21 strikeouts. That's it. 21. He can go usually 2 to 3 games without striking out. That's insane when you think about how young he is and how much knowledge he has at the plate. And just wait, he's getting better and better. He's very comfortable where he's at. I mean, the sky's the limit for this kid.
Houston, to their benefit, they also have a young stud. Cuban-born Yordan Alvarez missed basically all of last season with only 2 games played, so the Rays didn't see him in the postseason. But, man, when he is healthy and on the field, he is a beast.
Oof, you're talking about a guy who goes out there and just crushes a baseball. One of the best pure hitters I've seen in the game coming up. 32 home runs and 101 RBI on the season. But if you look back over the course of his career, he only has 227 games played in the major leagues. So call it about maybe a year and a half. He's already at 60 home runs. A pure power hitter. He can do it against the fastball and against off-speed. He has 32 jacks this year, 16 against the fastball, 16 against off-speed. So do not hang this guy anything over the plate.
Some fearsome hitters for these pitchers who are starting tonight to go up against. Michael Wacha, what do you think?
Yeah, Wacha just needs to go out there, watch the fastball. Last time out, he gave up 7 hits. 4 of them were on the fastball. If he can locate that pitch, he'll be out there doing a good job. Just pitch off the fastball and use that dominating changeup behind it.
And the Rays are facing Jose Urquidy.
Urquidy going out there, fastball range is 93, 94, but the changeup is his big pitch, 84 miles an hour. Opponent's only hitting 141, so the matchup really is against both starters' changeups. Those are the best pitches, and watch for these pitchers to utilize that pitch and to really try to set these guys up.
The Rays are